What's up, y'all? Today I'll be talking about my top 5 business banks for the year. I'll also be explaining why sometimes I've signed up for multiple different banks at the same time and why maybe you should too. So if that's something that interests you, be sure you stay tuned. Now, the reason why I always recommend that you sign up for more than one bank account really comes down to the protections that you want to have, especially when we're talking about a business that you're running. I've heard stories of people who've had issues where they gave their bank account information to whether they were having different services they signed up for pulled directly from their bank account, or they gave it to as a form of payment to a supplier or whatever the case may be. And people have ran into issues where more money was pulled out of their account than was supposed to be done. Now, I'm not saying this happens in a malicious sense. I'm saying more so that this might be happening because maybe your supplier or whatever service you're using makes a mistake and pulls the money out of your bank account by accident, right? But nonetheless, it can cause big issues when it comes to your bank, right? If you don't have access to the cash flow that you use to pay other expenses, right? Because some service that you use accidentally put an extra zero at the end of their payment request and pulled more money than they were supposed to, then that can put you in a bind when it comes to you paying whatever other expenses that you have. So that's why I usually recommend you have some sort of a buffer bank account. Right? And that's pretty much where you have a bank account that you do all your operating transactions out of, but you also have an account on the side where you keep the bulk of your money. That way, all you're doing is you're pretty much just transferring money in and out, right, into that bulk account to make sure that you never run into any sort of issues like that. And that's what you can do with the bank accounts that I'm gonna talk about here today. Another way I break it down too is you wanna make sure that your main bank account should only be able to push money into the more operating bank account where all your transactions are done, right? You never want your main bank account to have money pulled from it. It's a small distinction that I think people miss. From my actual main bank account, I in there put a request to push money out. I never allow other bank accounts to pull money from there, right? And I do that little distinction just so that you don't have to worry about it. Covers you from a liabilities point of view where no other banks can pull or access your main bank account funds. Only you have the power to push funds out. Now, I've shot videos that go deeper into that and explain it a lot more concretely or succinctly. You can check out those videos on my channel, but that's kind of the path that I go, right? Those of you guys who have been watching me a long time, you know I don't even use my business checking account debit cards, right? I pretty much use credit cards for all my expenses to add an even other layer of protection, as well as just the reward points or credit card points that I get from doing that method as well, okay? But anyways, let's jump into the first bank. The first bank I want to talk about is Novo Bank. Now, I'll link to them down in the description below, but this bank is great for online businesses, freelancers or contractors, or businesses that don't really rely on receiving cash from their clients or their customers. So the reason I love these guys is they're pretty much a fee-free checking account. You know, there's no fees that you need to pay except for maybe insufficient or uncollected fund fees, right? Which is just $27. But if you ever need to access any type of cash, they have free ATM access across the nation. You know, they pretty much allow you to use any ATM in the US and also abroad as well without charging you any fees. On top of that, they'll even reimburse you of all the fees that you face from these banks by using their ATMs as well, right? So those refunds will get deposited directly into your account at the end of each month. Now, they also have, online and mobile banking, which I think is a lot more the norm nowadays. And they have an invoicing feature, especially for those of you guys who want to be able to shoot out invoices where the money's sent directly to your account. This is particularly useful, I think, more for, freelancers and contractors, right? You're able to send an unlimited number of invoices and you can accept payments with ACH transfer or straight through Stripe as well, which is an integration they offer. Now, they have other integrations with other business tools. I mentioned Stripe. You can connect, your Shopify if you have a Shopify page, things like that. They have a ton of integrations. They're constantly adding more. Now, I will say some of the cons that I found is, one, you're not gonna be able to deposit any cash. That's why I really wanted to make sure that I pointed out if you're a business that receives a lot of cash from your customers, you're not really able to deposit cash through them. What you would need to do is technically get a money order and then deposit that money order through the mobile app as like a check. So that's kind of an extra step that makes it a little more complex or complicated. Also, you don't really get much in terms of interest earnings as well. So those are 2 points, but for me, these bank accounts aren't meant for me to keep a lot of cash in. This would be more of my operating bank account as opposed to my main bank account. So I wouldn't be too worried about the interest earnings, and I don't take cash from my customers, so I wouldn't need that as well, right? Everything for me, I pretty much do online. Now, another option is going to be Axos Bank. Now, Axos Bank's been getting really popular lately. They have both a personal offering as well as a business offering or business checking accounts. Now, they're really going after new or recently opened businesses, which is great. Their pros is they don't have any monthly service charges. Them and Novo Bank don't either. right? So that's one huge benefit with those guys. They have unlimited domestic ATM fee reimbursement, as well as they'll give you 50 checks, or your first set of 50 checks is completely free. So if you need to write out checks, you're able to get a checkbook from those guys as well. They actually do have a current offer or current promotion that they're running, where if you, in the first 2 months of your account being open, keep your daily average balance to $2,500 or more, then you'll qualify for a $100 bonus. So that's something as well if you're interested. Now, option number 3 is going to be a bigger bank. Okay, this is Chase Bank. Their best is going to be for businesses that are looking to get business loans in the future, as well as possible business credit cards. Now, this is another reason that I like to have more than one bank account, is because I want to have relationships with more than one bank, right? So I have a relationship with a big bank, and that way it puts me in position to, down the road, if I apply for, a credit card with them or a loan with them, they see that I have transactions running through their bank account, right? So it puts me in a better position in that route. Also, you're going to see that with these bigger banks, they're going to be some of the most advanced when it comes to mobile apps and online banking. Now, for me, that's a huge plus, especially when I'm traveling and moving around. I don't want to have issues where for some reason I'm not able to access my bank accounts, or they're putting fraud alerts on my bank accounts because maybe their systems aren't as advanced as other banks are nowadays. On top of that, they have a lot of branch locations if you need to talk to someone, or if you need to deposit cash, right? If you are taking a lot of cash in your business, right? So this again is a great way for you to start building that relationship, that business relationship with an actual bigger bank, to be able to get access to those business loans and credit cards in the future. Now, some of the cons is there is a monthly service fee if you don't keep a daily minimum. It really depends on what plan you have, but if you just look at the lowest plan, the Chase Business Complete Banking, they will waive the $15 monthly minimum if you can keep a daily balance of at least $2,000. Okay, so that's something that you want to keep in mind. Now, option number 4, this might actually be better than the Chase Bank account. Okay, option number 4 is the American Express Bank account. So American Express actually has a checking account. A lot of people don't know that. They just know them for their credit cards, but Chase actually offers a bank account, and the pro is you're able to earn a membership rewards points with their bank account as well, right? They have a sign-up bonus offer currently of 20,000 membership points if you, one, make an eligible deposit of $5,000 or more within 20 days of the account being open, and 2, you maintain an average account balance of $5,000 for 60 days, and 3, you also make at least 10 or more transactions within those 60 days. Okay, so that's an offer for 20,000 membership rewards points, which is a lot of rewards points. I think with those points, that is probably about how much I used. No, actually, I used a little less than that, maybe close to half of that, to be able to get my business class flight from DFW down to Guatemala. Now, those were Chase rewards points from Chase, but they're usually pretty comparable to 2. Now, the great thing about this is they also have free ATM withdrawals at any MoneyPass ATMs. More specifically, they position you for getting Amex business cards in the future as well. Now, they even have some no credit check credit cards as well that people don't really talk about, that no one knows about. They position them more as corporate cards. If you'd like, guys, let me know down in the comments. I wouldn't mind shooting a video on it as well. Also, make sure you subscribe if you like videos like this. I'll be shooting periodically, business videos about, business credit cards or business bank accounts, or just things that you need whenever you're trying to run a business. So be sure you hit that subscribe button. Now, some of the cons is going to be that there's no branches, so you can't really talk to anyone, and their debit card might not work at certain merchants due to it being an Amex. Okay, but I don't see that as much as I used to. There's going to be a lot more merchants out there who are willing to take the Amex card because they see that statistically, people who have Amexes tend to spend more money at location or at establishments. Now, option number 5 and the final option is going to be Navy Federal Credit Union, or really any credit union that you can get into, guys. I think this is really best for everyone, in my opinion. Okay, the pros are going to be that they're going to tend to give a lot more favorable rates when it comes to loan products, right? And they're going to be a lot more relationship based than bigger banks, right? Which might rely simply, depending on what product you're applying for, they might just rely on like an algorithm to decide whether a small business can get funding, right? To me, this is a safer bet when it comes to keeping the bulk of your money. I'll typically keep the bulk of my money in a credit union. Then I'll push funds into a bigger bank, depending on what the transactions is. Push my funds into a bigger bank like a Chase, Wells Fargo, Amex, whatever the case may be, or an online bank as well, like the Novo, the Axos, okay? So that's kind of how you want to look at it. I think you should also layer on business credit cards as well for protection, kind of what I mentioned a little previously, right? But this is going to be one of the options that I typically look at, and I recommend that you look at as well. Now, the cons is don't expect the best when it comes to online experience, right? These guys, you got to think that, credit unions are owned by the people, right? When you put money in, you're technically a part owner in the bank. And so they're not going to have as much money at their disposal to be able to just plow into their online experience. But I will say that the online experience, I don't do much online when it comes to credit unions. It's usually just transferring money. I'm not getting into doing any type of crazy stuff. So I typically don't have any issues when it comes to that. Another con, you just want to make sure that it might be a regional credit union, or it might just be tough for you to find branches depending on where you are, where you're moving around, okay? Those are some things that you would just want to keep in mind. Alrighty guys, if you're interested in learning how to actually go about setting up each piece of your business professionally and for a reasonable price, be sure you check out this video here where I actually talk about how to set up your business with a virtual address, business email address, business phone line, and so much more. So check out that video on how to actually go about setting up your business. Now, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. Be sure that you subscribe to my channel, and I will see you at the next one. Peace.